Hey everyone, it's Delana. I just wanted to do a video about a lot of the new luxury things that I'm finding in listings these days. I've looked at a bunch of new builds that are under construction, and I'm just noting a few trends that I just wanted to share with you guys. But to first of all, I was going to start with 10, and then I got to 15. So I hope you enjoy the video. I'm just going to go through all the things that I find are very important in the luxury market. And the first one, of course, is outstanding curb appeal. That is just so important. I've noticed that curb appeal is becoming more important. I've even noticed some people that will drive by and are either not interested or more interested. I've had people like, and it's been $1 million listings where they will show up to the house because they see the pictures of the interior, but they pull up to the house and they don't like it. And the agent calls me and says they don't even want to come in. So that's happens sometimes, and so I'm finding that curb appeal is becoming more and more important. And then on the flip side, I have people that the one of the houses I'm selling right now, it's on kind of a busier street. People are coming in just to say, "Well, I've been watching this getting built. I love the outside. I just want to see the inside." So curb appeal is definitely very important, even to get people inside the door. So these are a couple examples of beautiful curb appeal. Like you drive by one of those homes, you want to come in. And a lot of times you'll feature those on your MLS sheet. So the first impression is the outside of the house. So definitely it is important. And I'm finding it's getting even more and more important. It also shows the pride of ownership. So when someone drives by, they know you've taken care of your house. You have the design appeal to it. One of the houses in my neighborhood, she whitewashed the brick, and she's actually a designer, and she got the right, like it was like a German wash. It was the right kind of creamy white. And another neighbor of ours kind of did the same thing, but they used the wrong color white, and it looks horrible. So it's a good, when you drive by someone's house, it is a kind of aesthetic design of their own personal choice. So it is such a pride of ownership. And the next biggest thing I find is oversized primary bathrooms. They're getting bigger and bigger in these new builds. A couple of the really, really, really high end homes that I've sold literally have his and her primary baths. We sold a $17.5 million house. They had completely different bathrooms. She had hers. She had this cute little bathtub with a little fireplace. She had her huge walk-in closet, and then his master bath and stuff was on the other side. So that I thought that was very interesting. Here's an and also master baths with a beautiful view. Like usually if you have a house with a view, the master bath will be the one where you get the view because you spend a lot in the time in the tub or the shower. If there is going to be views from the primary area, they usually will feature those in the primary bath. I even had a couple that came in. They were married for, God, I think they were married for 40 years. And I asked them, I said, what is the key to staying married so long? And they both said, his and her bathrooms. So I thought that was very funny. And anyways, we ended up selling their house. And they do have his and her bathrooms. But it was really it was years ago. And they were having a hard time finding a new house because they couldn't find a house that had his and her bathrooms. And it was just an older couple. There was two of them, and their house was 10,000 square feet. So, and they were trying to downsize. I'm like, I don't know if downsizing is going to be good for you guys because, you've been married for 40 years in 10,000 square feet. I don't know how long you're going to be married in like 4,000 square feet. And it was really hard to find his and her bathrooms in a much smaller house as well. So, primary bath is so important. And pools. I'm finding pools are becoming more important as well, and they're getting more and more dramatic. It's becoming a huge feature of the home. The home that we're selling right now, the one in Paradise Valley, has a huge pool. Back in the day, the pools used to get smaller, especially here in AZ, and they're very shallow, so they're only about 5 feet deep. So it's kind of like considered play pools. And diving pools they were kind of way out of style. Now I'm finding that the diving pools are back in, deeper pools, more elaborate pools, more landscaping around them. The negative edge pool has always been a huge feature in the luxury market. we had a beautiful home up in Scottsdale that had black tile, and it had 3 of the edges were negative edge, and it was just beautiful. It was one of the model homes that Camelot did, and it was known for that pool. It was really pretty. It had three edges, and then it kind of overlooked the valley. It was really pretty, but negative edge pool with a view is a huge feature. And another huge feature is having the swim up bar and somewhere to sit in the pool and drink. We just put a pool in our house, and I put an edge all the way around the pool so you could just sit in it. So you can sit in the pool and have a drink. I don't have a swim up pool bar or anything like that, but trust me, I'd love to have one. It'd be a cool feature. But yeah, the swim up, little areas in the pool where you can just sit in the pool and socialize and drink has also been a new that's coming around. European appliances is huge. In the high end homes, you're going to find the Thermadors, the Vikings, all in the kind of like $1 million plus for sure. But when you get into $15+ million, I'm finding a lot of European ranges. The $17.5 million house we sold had a Lac Cornu, the one kind of in the picture here, huge Lac Cornu stove, and I think they said it was over $100,000. It was crazy, but absolutely beautiful. I just find they have so much character. I love them. I did a house I redid a house. It was in like a McDowell Mountain Ranch in Scottsdale, which all the homes were kind of really outdated at that point. Well, a couple of years ago. So they were very outdated. They were built in like the 70s. I had a house that was built in 1978. I redid it. I bought it for $625, but I ended up selling it for $1.6 million. And I knew that I wanted to get like the highest price possible. So I ended up putting in this stove here. It's called an ILV. And I said to my partner, he's like, why are you spending so much money on the stove? I said, because anybody that likes the really high end are going to be like, holy crap, this house, it's $1.6 million and it has this really, really high end appliances in it. So I put the ILV stove in it. It was absolutely beautiful. And the lady that bought it, the agent came to me who never talked to me before and said, she just loved the stove. She, if you're going to spend that much money on a stove, you've spent the money elsewhere as well. And you know what the finer things in life are, and the higher market that really does appreciate those high-end appliances. And game rooms are becoming so much more important as well. I've gone to 2 or 3 like brand new builds. They're not even built yet. One of them is 10 million plus, and the other one was 20 million. What I'm noticing is they have these designated game rooms. I find that the great room, where you have your kitchen, living room, is kind of for the everyday. But I think that, not that it's just males, but say there's a special game day or something going on, people like to congregate in a game room, not necessarily in the great room, and to have stuff going on in like the pool table, ping pong table, a bar area, multiple TVs, things that you would never find in a great room, but in the game room you would. So I think that's a huge feature. And again, they're becoming more and more elaborate, especially with the homes that are being used for, the Airbnbs and stuff. They really feature their game rooms to be like, a huge feature to have in the house. Finding like this one here is just like way over the top, but you never know. I've seen some crazy game rooms, but like I said, now in the brand new builds that aren't even finished, they definitely have a designated game room, and with lots of space and lots of room for TVs. So that's going to be a huge feature going forward. And another thing I've noticed with even the new builds I've been to, they have plunge pools, which is becoming a huge trend. The $20 million one I went to, they had this designated area off the master. It used to be like you a lot of have doors to the outside, but this had this designated area outside the master for a plunge pool. And another house that I looked at had the plunge pool outside the casita. So it was interesting. I never really saw that in the last years, but coming forward in 2024, going forward, I think this is going to be a huge feature in the high-end homes. Not just, I've seen some over-the-ground plunge pools, but the really high-end homes going forward are going to have these built-in kind of, underground plunge pools, as kind of spas have gone out and plunge pools have come in. So it was kind of interesting to see. Another huge thing is the dedicated office space. Before, you would have room, like you'd have a big great room, you would have these separate rooms or areas, and you might have an area for an office or a desk, or an open area that was maybe a dining room before, but you could make it into an office, or form a living room that was converted into an office. But in these higher end homes now, they have these designated office spaces that have doors, that are isolated. You can talk on the phone with the door shut. I also noticed that they have views. The last house I went into, he's like, the agent was showing me it wasn't built yet, but he was showing me the different areas. And he said, look at this office, look at the view from the office. And we're going to have these glass doors. So offices are becoming a more predominant room with doors, with closets, and with views, and definitely in an area where you can, and bigger. They're also becoming bigger in size, and somewhere you can talk. Like, a lot of people are doing video calls and things like that, so they need an isolated space that is quiet, away from kids, dogs, and everything else. And now the gourmet outdoor kitchens. Higher end homes have always had really nice barbecue areas and outdoor area, but now it's becoming these whole kitchens, like a whole featured kitchen, with stoves. They having more appliances. I'm seeing more pizza ovens, and all like paella. One house I went to, they had a big paella thing. So they're having bigger and bigger outdoor kitchens, and not only having kitchens and dining areas, but doing little living room areas as well, and covered. So having this almost like a gazebo-like covered, huge kind of gourmet kitchens outside, almost like a whole kitchen just moved outside with a roof and just no walls. So that's becoming huge, and especially here in Arizona, the outdoor kitchen is a really big feature to have. And usually they have fireplaces, like I said, seating areas around, so you can spend a lot of times outdoors. So that's in a really big feature. Another thing I've noticed is the meditation rooms, designated meditation rooms. And these are off from the main areas of the house, not near the great room. They used to be exercise rooms. I'm not seeing as much exercise rooms anymore. I'm seeing meditation rooms, which are really quiet, have some windows, but just in a designated quiet area of the house is these beautiful meditation rooms. And you just, with, sometimes they put like thicker walls or soundproof walls in them, so you can go in there and just have absolute quiet. Or they have like a yoga room, Pilates room, not so much exercise room with all this equipment. It's more these like places, quiet. You can have mats, pillows, light covered walls, or very, Zen atmosphere, as opposed to the rubber floors and the equipment and all that. They've definitely gone towards Zen, meditation, yoga, stretching, and like all that kind of stuff, which I think is great. Next house I'm for sure going to do, like, not necessarily a meditation room, but definitely a yoga room. And the biophilic elements is also coming back. So the house that I did, that was built in 1978, when you walk through the front door, they had this huge tree inside the house, and that was back in 1978. And now I'm finding that a lot of the greens, like, it's very neutral palettes now, but a lot of people are adding a lot of natural greenery inside the house, and even having plants like vines growing up the walls, or just a really green feel, just a very natural, organic feel to the house with a lot of these plants. And here you have a tree growing right through the middle of the house. It's crazy, but that is becoming a really, really big design feature in the new homes, especially in the very high-end luxury homes. Definitely, movie rooms are coming back, and they're not necessarily like the theater rooms in the old days where it's just lined up of chairs like a real theater. It's more these like comfy lounges, big screen TV, not necessarily a blacked out room, but I do see that as well. But yeah, just definitely a visual room. A lot of these higher end homes also have control systems in them, and I've noticed that a lot of buyers are more savvy about which system they want. There's Savant, there's Control 4, there's also Crestron, which kind of controls everything from the windows to the lighting to music and everything. So I noticed that everybody seemed to have their style or their pick or what they like better, but they have become a huge deal in the higher end market. Savant is more a, kind of hooked up to more like Apple, if you're like Apple and that kind of thing. Then Control 4, some people like Control 4. The Savant, a full system of Savant is about 30,000, where Control 4 is about 10,000. Just a quick story, I had a $1 million house that I sold. The people are moving out of state. The buyers had bought everything, like the furniture, everything, but and the audio visual equipment and stuff. And this was years ago. So, and at the end of the deal, it almost fell apart because they thought their Control 4 was a personal item because you kind of personalize your settings all there. And my clients assumed it was part of the audio visual equipment, and the sellers were like, no, that's our personal equipment. So it became a huge deal. They ended up leaving it, but going forward in all my contracts, if they had a Control 4 or any of these systems, I included in the contract not only all audio visual, but any control systems. And I don't know why they want to take it because it's all set up for that house. But anyways, it became a huge deal. Almost lost a whole deal over it, but and everybody was all mad. So I learned a lesson in that one. If you have a Control 4, whatever the system is, make sure you write that in the contract because you just avoid any problems. Home charging stations. I'm noticing this in all the new homes. So it's easier to build the charging system in the house to start with as opposed to retrofitting it. I was thinking about going to like a Tesla, and I'm like, oh, how do I even hook this up to my house and have to retrofit it? But now all the homes are just, it's almost like a feature you have to have in the luxury homes is to have a charging station. Like I said, it's much easier to put in while you're building the house than to put it in afterwards. And there's so many people with electric these days that these charging stations are just essential. And even if, like, I had some buyers come into one of my listings and he had a really nice Porsche, electric Porsche. And I said, oh, how's your Porsche? And he's like, oh, it's the car I only drive around town because it doesn't have enough miles. He goes, I drive my other car. This is just my kind of my weekend fun car. So in that luxury market, even if it's not their main car, they might have a secondary car that is electric, their fun car, their race car, whatever. So having an electric station is very, very important to have. And I think it would be missing out if you didn't have it. Another issue is the luxury closets. That's becoming more and more popular. And like they're becoming more like rooms with seating areas and just more elaborate, I find, in the higher end markets. And one thing definitely is the his and hers. Almost like in a really, really high end house, you'll never find a shared closet. It's always his, hers, and hers is always twice as big as the his. So that is very important as well. And there's always like seating areas. And I find they're just getting more distinctive in the style. You know, if you walk into a really nice house and, you know, you're wowed by everything, but when you walk in and they have a fantastic walk-in closet, it's just like the huge cherry on top because everybody expects a nice closet in a high-end home, but when they go over the top and put all these special little features in it, it is definitely sets it apart and something the buyers are going to be thinking about when they walk away and they're thinking, oh, I like these 5 homes and which one do I choose? If one had an elaborate closet like this, it'd definitely be one of the features that's going to throw them on top. And also more modern wine cellars. And I'm also finding that they're putting little tasting rooms in these wine cellars. So not only is it before just you'd have a wine fridge and then you kind of had a wine like controlled area, temperature controlled kind of closet. Now I'm seeing these huge, like just wine cellars. Again, areas, things like that. Somewhere where you can have your friends over and test out some wines. That's becoming a really big in the high-end homes. And of course, they have to be temperature controlled. That is a must. And also a lot more bottle room. And that's one of the questions I get asked all the time. If the house has, a wine room, how many bottles does it hold? And it's either a plus or a minus. But I'm finding that number is getting bigger and bigger as high-end homes are getting more popular. Badass garages, that is a huge feature, especially here in Arizona, where we're the Barrett-Jackson country area here. A lot of people have a lot of the collectors' cars, especially in that very high-end market. People buy cars. As part of their their stash of like high end stuff to have. Cars is like really high up there. So I have a buyer right now that's looking for, he has 10 cars, and I found him a house in Paradise Valley that has an 8 car garage, but it really is hard to find. You definitely need 4 plus, but anything 4 or 5 up to 10 is huge if you can, especially with the higher end homes. There are probably a lot of lot size. So to have a bigger garage has never been a minus. Just like a woman having too big of a closet is never a minus, a man having too big of a garage is never a minus. So, or anybody that just loves cars. So I've even seen homes here, like this garage here, that just have designated garage areas just for their collector cars. I've seen that a few times. And lifts. Lifts are also, if they don't have the room on the lot for the garage sizes, they'll add these lifts so you can just pack in as many cars as possible. But that's a huge feature in the market. So just to go over like the top 15 things I have, the outstanding curb appeal, the oversized primary baths, the insane pools, European kitchen ranges, over the top rooms, plunge pools, dedicated office space. All these things are so important for this higher end market. And if you guys have any questions or want to see any other video about any kind of high end real estate, just let me know. Again, my name is Delana, and just hit subscribe. I do have some more videos coming out about some of the stories I have of my high end market sales. So just stay tuned, like, and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.